Okay, no, YouTube didn't cause this. Yes, I do believe that we have tried everything and we involved other people and professionals. Yes, I am very sad about it. And if you are shocked or surprised about this, I would expect you to be, because I worked very hard to make sure that no one knew this was going on behind the scenes. But what we did share together wasn't fake. I actually really loved the side of Tom that would come out when we would video together. That wasn't fake at all. It just wasn't the full story. Okay, so I want to get that out there quick in case you don't watch the full video. But now I can, well, tell you where I am, tell you how we got here, and what's next.
Everybody is absolutely shaken by the divorce announcement of the minimal mom, Dawn, and her husband, Tom. To the outside world, they had what seemed like a perfect marriage, 4 beautiful kids, and a shared passion for minimalism, and a thriving YouTube channel dedicated to simple living. But as we've come to learn, even 16 years of marriage wasn't enough to hold them together. Dawn was the first to break the news, addressing the situation in a video that was calm, composed, and to the point. Not long after, Tom followed with his own response, sharing his heartbreak and his belief that they hadn't explored all possible ways to save their marriage. While Dawn seemed resolute in her decision, Tom's words reflected deep sadness and lingering hope. So, what really happened? Did Dawn push for the divorce, believing it was the best choice? Or does Tom have a point? Could they have done more? Let's break down both perspectives and understand where things stand.
That Dawn said in her video is true. I am usually sitting over here, and there is usually a beautiful woman right next to me. But that's not what's happening today.
For those unfamiliar with their story, Dawn Madsen, known as the Minimal Mom, built a thriving online community centered around the principles of simple living. What started as a personal journey to declutter her own life evolved into a platform that resonated with millions. Through her YouTube channel, Dawn offered practical advice on minimalism, organization, and intentional living, inspiring countless individuals to reassess their relationship with material possessions. Her minimalist philosophy wasn't just about getting rid of excess things. It was about creating space for what truly mattered: family, faith, and personal fulfillment. She encouraged her audience to look beyond the clutter and find emotional and mental clarity through simplicity. Her videos were not just instructional, they were deeply personal, often reflecting her own experiences and struggles as a wife and mother. She and Tom lived just outside the Twin Cities in Minnesota, raising their 4 children in a home that reflected their minimalist values. They worked together to create content that was both practical and inspirational, inspiring thousands to simplify their lives. Their content wasn't just about decluttering physical spaces, it also touched on creating mental clarity, fostering meaningful relationships, and finding peace in simplicity.
Hey, welcome back to Rusty Judgment. I'm here with Dawn. You guys know Dawn? She's awesome if you don't.
All right, well, we have a goal to get this house ready to rent out by the end of this month.
Many admired how they seamlessly blended their personal life with their brand, appearing to be a strong, supportive couple who shared common goals and a mutual love for their lifestyle. But as often the case, social media only reveals a curated version of reality. While their videos showcased a harmonious partnership, cracks had been forming behind the scenes for years. The facade of stability masked deeper issues, ones that neither of them could fix despite their best efforts. Behind the camera, there were moments of tension, silent battles, and the growing realization that the very life they had built together was starting to drift apart. Some fans had even jokingly referred to this as the ultimate decluttering, with Tom now absent from the picture. But beyond the humor, this is a deeply personal and painful chapter for both of them, one that has left their followers shocked and searching for answers. When Dawn spoke about the divorce, she did so with grace and strength. She admitted that she never imagined making a video about such a personal loss, yet here she was, facing it head on. She reassured her audience that this decision was not made lightly and emphasized that her children were at the heart of it all. Dawn expressed how difficult it was to come to terms with the reality of separating from someone she had built a life with for over a decade and a half. But ultimately, she felt it was the best decision for her family's well-being. Dawn revealed that her marriage had been rocky from the very beginning. They had tried everything: counseling, conversations with pastors, advice from friends, even periods of separation.
Something that has been building. Was there one thing that happened? I've sometimes mentioned it a little bit, but Tom and I were married for 16 years, and it was pretty tough from the beginning. And we've been in counseling on and off. You know, in the beginning, I really tried to hide it because I just thought that was the respectful thing to do. Over the last 15, 16 years, I can honestly say that we have tried everything.
But despite all efforts, things just never fully clicked. She described how, over time, the unresolved issues began to weigh on her emotionally and mentally, making it increasingly difficult to sustain the relationship. She kept much of this hidden out of respect for Tom, wanting to protect the process they were going through. But eventually, she had to accept reality. She reflected on how love, while powerful, isn't always enough to overcome deep-rooted incompatibilities, and she realized that prolonging the struggle wasn't fair to either of them.
That if we would just keep trying and finding the right therapist or the right whatever it was going to take, that the video I would actually be making would be me saying like, what a cool story we have of how our relationship was restored and redeemed. And so honestly, until February of this year, I was like, we've got this. We are just one, like EMDR or something else away from a breakthrough, and it is going to be so good, and we are going to encourage so many people, and how exciting that will be. And that's obviously not how it ended, and that's hard, and it makes me very sad. So
one of the biggest speculations was whether YouTube had played a role in their divorce. Dawn shut that down quickly, saying, if anything, YouTube had been a positive force in their marriage. It allowed Tom to leave his stressful job and spend more time with the family. It brought them financial security, new opportunities, and access to professional help they may not have otherwise had. To her, YouTube wasn't the problem. It was one of the things that actually helped them stay together longer. She emphasized that their struggles predated their success on the platform, and that in many ways, creating content together had been a bonding experience rather than a source of tension. However, she acknowledged that sharing so much of their lives publicly added another layer of pressure, making it harder to process their struggles privately.
Times where it was really stressful and I put in a ton of hours that maybe threw life out of balance, but mostly YouTube has made our life so much better. It was 5 years ago that Tom got to leave his job because what we were doing on YouTube was working so well. And that was awesome. I actually thought that was gonna be the time for a real breakthrough, because he was working in a very stressful job. He was driving over an hour and a half on the way home. And so we were able to start, acquiring these rental properties and him working on them and fixing up. And so YouTube allowed us to achieve so many of our dreams earlier than we had ever thought, with rental properties and traveling and getting to camp with the kids and all of that. And it also gave us the means to explore different, kinds of therapies and whatnot to try and have more success in our relationship.
As in any divorce, the biggest concern is always the children. Dawn admitted that her breaking point came when she saw the emotional toll their struggles were having on her kids. She noticed changes in their behavior, moments of sadness, and questions they did not know how to articulate. There were nights when they would ask her why things felt different, why there was tension in the air, and why their parents weren't as happy as they used to be. It was then that she realized she couldn't keep going in a relationship that no longer provided a stable and loving environment for them. She described the heartbreaking moment when she knew she had to prioritize their well-being above all else. Walking away wasn't easy, but she felt it was the best responsible decision she could make for the family's future. She also shared that they had been separated for over a year, something that shocked fans who had seen nothing but a happy couple online. During this time, they attempted to reconcile, seeking guidance, attending therapy, and trying to reconsider the love they once had. But the emotional distance had already grown too deep. Dawn explained that while she had once believed in fighting for the marriage, there came a point where staying would have meant losing herself. The exhaustion of constantly trying to make things work out without real change drained her. The separation, according to Dawn, was a way to give the marriage one last chance. But in the end, it only confirmed that she already knew. Sometimes, love alone is not enough to make a relationship work. She acknowledged that their children deserved to grow up in a home filled with peace and emotional security, even if it meant making a painful decision to part ways with their father. Another question that kept popping up was about their home. Many assumed she would keep it, considering it had been a dream home for them. But Dawn explained that dreams change. What once felt like a sanctuary for their growing family now held too many painful memories. The empty spaces and familiar corners only served as reminders of what had been lost. She did not want to stay in the house alone, feeling the weight of the past pressing in on her. So she made the difficult decision to move in with her parents, where she and the kids could feel comfort and support as they adjusted to their new reality. She described how her parents' home, though not the same as her own, offered a sense of stability that she desperately needed during this transition. She also addressed the idea that marriage is supposed to be hard. Of course, she agreed, marriage has its challenges, but there's a difference between enduring difficulties and losing yourself in the process. She had reached a point where she felt like she had sacrificed too much of herself. Dawn described feeling crazy for continuously forgiving and hoping things would change or would improve, only to be left emotionally drained and fulfilled. She spoke candidly about how she ignored her own needs for years, convincing herself that if she just tried a little harder, things would get better. But eventually, she had to confront the painful truth. Sometimes, holding on does more damage than letting go. Despite the pain, Dawn is moving forward. She assured her followers that her content would remain the same, helping people declutter their lives and find joy in simplicity. The only difference is that her videos will now feature a new background, her parents' home, a temporary but necessary refuge on her journey to healing. Fans are surprised when Tom posted his own video so soon after Dawn's. His emotions were raw, his words deeply personal, unlike Dawn, who seemed at peace with her decision. Tom was still processing it all. He admitted that he never envisioned this moment, that despite their struggles, he truly believed they would find a way back to each other. His vulnerability in the video was striking, showing just how much this loss was weighing in on him. He reminisced about their early days, how they had been best friends before they even started dating. Tom painted a picture of a relationship built on deep friendship, mutual respect, and a shared dream of building a life together. His love for Dawn was evident, making it even harder for him to accept that the marriage was truly over. He shared that every milestone they reached, from buying their first home to welcoming their children, had been woven into his sense of identity. Letting go now felt like erasing a part of himself. Tom admitted that their relationship struggles began right away, largely due to his own unresolved trauma. He grew up witnessing a toxic divorce between his parents, and that baggage followed him into his marriage. He described their early years as overwhelming, with his sister and father moving in with them just as they were renovating their home and expecting their first child. He recalled feeling the weight of responsibility, constantly trying to be the provider and protector, but never fully processing his own emotions. Stress, anger, and emotional baggage became a theme in their relationship, shaping their interactions and slowly chipping away at their bond. While he acknowledged that Dawn had fought for the marriage in the beginning, he claimed it was only in the last 3 years that he truly started fighting for it too. He shared how he had undergone therapy, worked on his anger, and made conscious efforts to be a better partner. Unfortunately, by then, Dawn had emotionally checked out. He wished they had tried harder, believed there was still more they could have done. Tom's regret was palpable. He spoke of late nights replying conversations, wondering if there was a moment he could have said something differently or done something that would have changed the outcome. Tom also felt differently about YouTube's impact, and like Dawn, who saw it as a positive influence, he believed it took too much of their focus away from their marriage. In his view, their priorities shifted and they lost sight of what truly mattered. He suggested that while the platform provided financial security and opportunities, it also introduced new stressors, constant content creation, public scrutiny, and the challenge of maintaining an online persona. Tom wondered aloud if they had gotten so much caught up in presenting an idealized version of their lives that they forgot to nurture their real one. Despite this, he maintained that he still loved Dawn deeply and struggled to come to terms with the finality of their separation. One of the most heartbreaking moments in Tom's video was when he admitted that marrying Dawn had been his life's greatest dream. The pain in his voice was clear. he wasn't ready to let go, even though the divorce had already been finalized. His voice cracked as he reflected on their wedding day, the vows they exchanged, and the moments he had once believed would last forever. He described the countless nights spent reminiscing about their journey together, replaying their happiest times in his mind, wishing he could go back and do things differently. From his perspective, he had finally grown into the man he wanted to be, but by the time he got there, it was too late. And at the end of the day, their marriage was never a perfect one, as it seemed. But is there hope for reconciliation? Tom seems to think so. But Dawn, on the other hand, seems firmly set on moving forward. So what do you think? Did Dawn give up too soon, or was it the right decision? Can Tom ever win her back, or is he holding on to false hope? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.